What you're seeing here is an example of Node-RED to process data coming in from MQTT queues that are being published by the sensors. So sensors around the house are reading temperature, light, motion, and all of those values, and they're publishing to an MQTT queue in the form of a JSON object. Node-RED is running on a server. It has a browser-based interface, and I have different Node-RED flows to do different things here. So let's just quickly go over what these flows do, and the idea here is to show you how to build out a back-end system that takes data from an IoT sensor and do something with it. So very first step is, let me actually go to this flow. I get the sensor data from MQTT. It's reading in from this topic, and I actually have the topic here also. It's reading in from this port, and the topic is sensor data. It validates the message because I do get some spurious data at times, and then I make sure it's a clean string. I convert that data into a JSON because I'm reading it as a string. I'm doing some processing. I'm rounding off the values, and I do two things with it. I send it for further processing, and I also publish it to a WebSocket interface, because with a WebSocket interface I can do some very cool things. So let's see what I can do with the WebSocket interface. So I have a lovely dashboard here that's showing the various values and gauges from around the house. It's showing the temperature in the basement, it's showing the light levels in the basement, it's showing temperature and light levels in another part of the basement, in the front hallway, in the bedroom, in the garage. I also have the external temperature, and it's also showing me the current state of all my doors, which are showing as closed. How do I do that? So over here I'm basically taking the data, I'm splitting it based on which sensor it is, and then I'm updating the temperature value and outputting it. I'm using a package called Node-RED Dashboard that provides some standard widgets such as gauges and charts that I can use to plot the data. So over here you're getting data from each of these sensors, and I'm sending it out here. Likewise, I'm getting the data for the doors. I'm doing some conversion here, and I'm printing out a string here to show whether the door is open or closed. Just some simple Angular code out here. When I walk near a sensor that is detecting motion and it is dark, I want the light to turn on. How do I do that? The sensor is already telling me that there is it's whether it's light or dark. So over here I collect the sensor data, and each sensor sets a state. If the measurement, if it's light 1, I basically say it's dark. If it's less than a certain threshold, if it's more than a certain threshold, I say it's bright. So these are my two states. It's either dark or it's bright, and that's what I do here. I just set the states for the different sensors, and over here I check the state. So for each sensor I get the motion value, and then I check whether it's dark or light. If it's dark, I turn the light on. I set the pin value to high because I know this pin is connected to the light. And I set a limit so that I don't flood the queue with too many, just because how the motion sensors operate. And then I send the data back to the sensor. So what I do over here is I form a string which starts with action. And when I pass this string that starts with action and I push it back onto an MQTT queue, the sensor is listening for that data, that string. And when it sees that string starting with action, it knows it has to do something. and it then takes the value of the pin and sets the value of the pin to high. So when I walk near a motion sensor and the light turns on because it's dark, all that processing is done on the server. That's done in the core of your enterprise. If you are an enterprise system, your nodes at the edge are detecting events, they're sending it back into the core over a messaging system. You're doing the analysis and the processing in the core, and then you're sending an action back. And now I can do really cool things like setting my aquarium, my fish tank timer. So I have timers to start and turn off the tank lights and the air pump and all of that. So this is an example of how you use an IoT network and how you use it to how you use your core systems to process the events and respond back to them.